right, Mr. Clerk, would you please call the Parks Committee, Parks and Environmental Matters to order?
Can you pay the air conditioning bill for this place, please?
I will check on that in a second. Alderwoman Cruzen. Alderman French. Alderman Vaquero.
Present.
Alderman Villa.
Here.
Alderman Carter. Alderwoman Ingracia.
Here.
Alderwoman Tyus.
Present.
Alderwoman Murphy. Alderwoman Green.
Present.
Chairman Ortmann.
Present.
We have 6 present and we have a quorum.
What's in front of us today are the 3 parks resolutions, and so we'll hear Resolution 34 first, and Dan Skillman, the Parks Commissioner, is here, so I'll turn it over to him.
Okay. Thank you, Chairman Ortmann, members of the committee. Just kind of a brief overview. I know we're looking at the first resolution. There are 3 funding sources that we're looking at today. 2 of these are out of the Metro Parks sales tax. It's a 1/10 of a cent sales tax and a 3/16 cent sales tax. Each of those required a 25% match for those funding. And we are also looking at a 3rd funding source, which is the Neighborhood Park Fund, which requires no match. The only stipulation in the ordinance was that half of that money has to go for north side parks and half of the money must be spent in south side parks. The total funding we have for all 3 sources is about $3 million. The bulk of that money is coming out of the Metro 1/10 and the Neighborhood Park Fund. Every year, towards the end of the year, I send out letters to each of the alderpersons identifying the funding that we have available for the upcoming fiscal year, and send along with that an application form and some suggested projects if they choose to fund those improvements in their parks, or to allow them to choose other projects within their park. I also this year was able, because we had a large amount of funding this year, I was able to also talk to each of the alderpersons at their ward capital meetings this year. So I met with each of them personally, each of the 28 aldermen. Happy to say that we were able to, out of the 3 sources of funding, we were able to fund all the projects that were requested by each of the aldermen. I will say that because the Metro Park sales tax, both the 1/10 and the 3/16 were a 25% match, essentially what I did is lump all those together and then split them out between the 1/10 and 3/16, just because it did require a 25% match. But they're covered by 2 different resolutions. So as we go through each of those resolutions, it's basically I came to the amount of money and cut it off, so there was no magic about where it got cut off for a particular ward. It just was where the funds ran out, and I put the balance of the other projects in the 3/16. That's all I have.
Instead of going through the list, let me ask, is there any questions on Resolution 34? Or should we?
Comment. He should run for office if he set aside all $28.
Well, as we progress, I mean, the good thing about these funds, is, back when I first started, it was a big fight over money for parks. And since we've had these funds, all of our parks are finally, all the little parks are finally coming up to, a higher standard, and, we're able to do the work in them that needs to be done. And also, there, in the money that comes, which the larger parks, is it Fairgrounds, O'Fallon, Cronolette, Wilmore, Forest Park, yeah, they all get a better cut, yes, a bigger cut. So, they're
from a couple of sources.
They're automatically taken care of, yes. So, go ahead and make your comment, and then we'll move on to the next resolution.
My comment was he should run for office if he satisfied all 28 aldermen. That's an impossible task.
Actually, it's been done, you know, I think, pretty often in the last years with these. I mean, because people are getting their projects done. You know, no matter where you are in the city, it's pretty much addressing everyone, which I think is great.
When I came in here, came in on Conway and French about arguing about the parks in 2013.
Resolution 35.
$35, as I mentioned, is the 3/16 of a cent sales tax. So again, there was a 25% match. Again, I will just say I lumped the two sources of funding together. So where we started with Ward 22 through 27 really was where the cutoff was for the 1/10, and I put the remainder of the projects in the 3/16 sales tax.
Resolution 36.
36 is the Neighborhood Park Fund. Where this money came from, just to familiarize the committee, is back in 2007, the city entered into a long-term lease with BJC for the hospital project, which was for $2 million to fund additional maintenance in Forest Park. The $1.6 million that used to be allocated specifically for maintenance of Forest Park, rather than going back into general revenue, the Board of Aldermen by ordinance captured that money for the neighborhood parks. $1.2 million of that comes back into the neighborhood park fund. The other $400,000 goes into the director's office to help fund the playtime recreation folks. So it was a great deal for us and for the aldermen, and the fact that we had an additional pot of money to begin to fund some of the improvements to our neighborhood parks. And as I mentioned, the $1.2 million is, the only stipulation is there's no match, but we're asked to equally divide the money between the north side and the south side parks, which this resolution 36 with the exhibit does that.
Any questions besides Alderman Villa? Alderman Villa.
Dan, what do you use for a geographic line of demarcation when you say north and south?
The ordinance was very specific in deciding that was at Delmar.
Delmar, that's what I thought, yeah.
It's written in the ordinance,
Yes, I remember that.
Delmar.
yes.
You never heard of the Great Delmar Divide? Where have you lived?
In a cave, it's
You
cool.
live too
in there.
far south.
If there's no other questions, I'll make a motion to pass out Resolution 34.
So moved.
Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Vaquero,
Aye.
Alderman Villa,
Aye.
Alderwoman Ingracia,
Aye.
Alderwoman Tyus,
Aye.
Alderwoman Green,
Aye.
Chairman Ortmann.
Aye.
We have 6 ayes, 0 noes.
Started the board?
No, it's been there so when Dix Creek made the Central West
Resolution 34 is out. I'll entertain a motion for Resolution 35.
So moved.
And in fact, they are now moving to Central West
I'll second, she made it, I'll
There you go. I'm sorry, who made the motion?
beautification.
I did.
Okay.
Joe seconded.
Joe
Very close to
seconded.
each other there.
Hearing no objection to previous roll, Resolution 35 is out. And I'll also entertain a motion for Resolution 36.
So moved.
and second.
Previous roll.
Hearing no objection to previous roll, Resolution 36 is out with a due pass, so
Can you let the chair finish his sentence?
I can tell everyone really wants to get out of here. It's lunchtime, you know, so.
One fan.
Yeah, we're dying of heat.
Right.
Someone didn't pay the bill, air conditioning, so.
I think it's the clerk. We have to put the claimant on it.
And if everyone knows, you know, this does not have to go back to the board. I mean, it's out, so thank you, and I think, again, I want to say, Dan,
Don't we have one more?
it's great working with you. And I think you do a fantastic job here,
Thank you.
so,
Thank you all.
we're done.
All right, Chairman.
Nice of you to say.